On Thursday nights, Darlington is a crown jewel of the Highline Racing League schedule, and with the Gen 4s back in play, tonight we get to see high horsepower meet a throwback track. It's the Lady in Black. Welcome to the ASC Services and Supplies Southern 200. 13 drivers have taken to the qualifying session, and now all 13 have taken their qualifying times. The field is set, and we know who's going to be in the picture to get it done after 147 laps. Tonight's going to be one of the most exciting races on the tour. It's a very well-known track, and this is one of the most important races of the season. You want to win this one. It is an icon of the Highline Racing League schedule. Alan Cummins, your defending winner at Darlington. He is also your defending champion, so everyone in the field knows they want to follow in that winning way as qualifying has concluded. Our times have already been set. Every driver in the field opted to take a time, and now we know who's going to be sitting at the front of the grid, and that looks to be the number 5 machine of Dylan Clark as your starting grid gets lined up for the first time today. DJ Stagner going to be on the outside of row number 1, but the man on the inside is not your points leader. It is indeed the best qualifying run for Dylan Clark all season long in his Haviline throwback for Italcart and the number 5. Without further ado, as things get started here in South Carolina, how's about we take a look at your starting grid for today's race? This is a Services and Supply Southern 200. Let's find out who's got what it takes to get it done. And on the pole position, we're asked to finish first, but if you're starting first, it's that much easier. Dylan Clark going to be pole sitter, row number 1. He'll be on the inside of it with DJ Stagner, the dominant man this season, continuing his hot streak, starting second on the outside line. Then from there, third place going to be held by Brad Kress and the number 9 machine. New look for him today in the Mountain Dew number 9, and Chad Winstead going to be starting in position number 4. Fourth place for Winstead in that 34 machine, just beside the Mountain Dew number 9. Then from there, Brad Kress is going to be seeing his teammate behind him. That's Kendall Kerr inside of row number 3 to round out your top 5. And Dylan Petit in the number 31, another special paint scheme for him. Replica of the Bill Davis Racing paint scheme, as iconic as it was in the past decades ago. It comes back again, this time in the virtual realm. Then from there on out, you're going to see the inside of row 4 held by Adam Bozzi, and of course the winningest driver last season looking to pull it home for a win here at Darlington. James McKee and the number 29 bring back the AOL throwback. They'll be starting on the 8th spot outside of row number 4. Then from there will be Scott Wheeler inside of row 5, and Alan Kunman, your defending champion, rounds out the top 10. Number 8 machine will be just ahead of your final 2 drivers on 1 row. That's Terry and Kenny, the brothers, on row 6. Inside going to be held by Terry Brooks, and the outside will be held by Kenny in that number 54. Round out your 13-car field, Caleb Morrissey with another special paint scheme tonight will take his equipment up to 13th, the final spot on the order. And right now, the pace lights are still on our pace car. 13 drivers make up 7 rows of action here tonight. Caleb Morrissey, the last of which, and the field once again led by your man Dylan Clark inside of row number 1. This is the ASC Services and Supplies Southern 200, throwback schemes to legends of stock cars, and that was your starting grid for today's event as we get things kicked off in just a few moments time. Your starting grid, you know it well now. Time to get your timing and scoring up on the top and find out who's got what it takes to win here from the Track 2 Tough to Tame. We've been to Darlington twice this week on FTN, first with the Ignite Series, then the Octane Series, both of the Integrity Racing League, and both gave us fantastic action, and this race is going to be more similar to the Ignite Series, not only running the B-car package, the Xfinity cars these Gen 4s used to be, but the same race length, meaning we're going to see some strategy, some long runs, maybe a bit of short runs, but with the field we have tonight, expecting to see a lot more on the long side, especially since it is not as many as we've seen for the most recent weeks of competition. Expect this one to fly by if drivers can keep themselves straight as the night goes on. Right now, the big question is whether or not it can be kept straight. Right now, Dylan Clark has that race lead. Number 5 machine is on top. Stagner then going to be second. Third place held by Brad Kress, and fourth is Chad Winstead. Let's get right back to it once again. And now, get ready to rumble here in Darlington. Rolling back, this time by, it's going to be Clark and Stagner leading the way. iRacing official pace car down and in, and the green flag is set to fly as we're back underway from the Lady in Black. First time on the Thursday night, though, we're on the move, led by Dylan Clark. Experiencing some technical difficulties on the road to pro side. Give me just a moment here. We're going to be working stuff out to get the broadcast back on the way there. Looks like there's an issue, and we'll get a second link up for timing and scoring to get the road to pro tour back on the move. We will be right back in a moment's notice. Dylan Clark leading the way. Brad Kress is second. DJ Stagner is third, and we'll watch the drivers make it by and crank it up early here on FTN as we get on the move here from South Carolina. And as it stands, things getting going once again 4 laps in. And in case there are any Road to Pro viewers watching right now, we're working on it as it stands behind the scenes, just trying to make sure our producer can get back on the way. Some technical difficulties earlier in the going, but now 5 laps in of 147. If you're here for the Highline Racing League, you're in the right place. Dylan Clark leads the way from Brad Creston in second. Side-by-side battle for third now, as you'll see Winstead and DJ Stagner. They were fighting for just a moment. Now DJ is going to be finding himself back outside of the podium. A bit of trouble there for DJ as he fades back even further. 5 laps in of 147, now going to be outside of the top 5, and the 64 heads back into the 7th spot. Not at all where our current points leader wants to be. He's in the wall once again, and it looks like already getting a few Darlington strikes in a row. And just like that, Stagner's night not going any well. He continues to beat and bang with the wall once again, side by side with Alan Kunman. Now it's going to be Caleb Morrissey making it by, and as they all go through this time around, 6 laps in of 147, make it 7 laps in total. DJ is still fading back fast, and the only question is whether or not he can get out of that wall here as he finds himself now in 10th. This is the worst run he's had so far, and it's only the first 7 laps. He's been consistent every race to this point. He's had a podium in every of which to this point indeed, and now all of a sudden, DJ Stagner down in 10th. It seems unthinkable given how good he's been this season, but all of a sudden, not the case. Coming back down to reality, DJ is going to have to muscle this car from here on out as Dylan Clark leads with a very wide margin, 0.5 of a second at the moment ahead of Brad Kress and Chad Winstead there in a third. And Dylan Clark going to lead the way in that number 5. Brad Kress is going to be there in second. Third is Chad Winstead. Dylan Petit is fourth. If you're watching for Road to Pro, another update on the situation. A second link has been put up. In the case there's even a chance we can get this race back going, we'll be broadcasting there as well. You are not going to miss out on the finish. Not at this rate. We are not going to let it happen. As it stands, looks like it's going to be Dylan Clark still leading and having that performance up in front. great to have at the start, especially here at Darlington, where tires get shredded. You cannot afford to wear down your tires early, but if you have a bit of a gap, maybe you can play around with it, be a bit more aggressive. It's all about either managing it, being a bit more conservative and keeping with the pack, or getting aggressive, getting away, and going from there. And right now, Dylan Clark remains advantageous. Brad Kress is actually gaining some time now, and as we mentioned, he might have worn out his stuff getting out on the move. Just like that, Brad Kress now getting even closer to where he wants to be, and as the drivers continue to make time right now, it looks like it's going to be Kress on the charge. Half a second separating those who are up in front. Then from there, Chad Winstead going to be third, and it will be Dylan Petit, position number 4. Adam Bozzi then going to be 5th, and James McKee will be 6th, and Caleb Morrissey's then 7th with Alan Kunman, position number 8. 9th will be held then by Terry Brooks. Kendall Kerr is now going to be 10th, and DJ Stagner is in 11th. Dylan Clark now has that top spot by 0.6 of a second as it stands. 12 laps in of 147, things going much better now for Dylan Clark. Looked like for a moment there, a brief hiccup. He would not be able to keep himself up where he wanted to be in that lead spot, but all of a sudden, bouncing back from a bit of a slump, and all of a sudden, it's going to be Dylan up there on the top of the board, gaining some time now on Brad Kress, which is exactly what you have to do. As it stands, it's going to be 13 laps in out of 147 for Dylan Clark. Brad Kress then going to be 2nd. Chad Winstead is 3rd, and 4th is Dylan Petit as they make it by yet again. You see right now, Caleb Morrissey going to be fading back into 7th. Right now, it looks like it's going to be a 3-car bundle. Morrissey in 7th with Alan Kunman and Terry Brooks putting down pressure. Take a look at the back bumper of the 98 machine as he's in the wall of this time by. Now, going to look at the front view as Morrissey's passed once and twice back to back. And watching on board with Caleb Morrissey now suffering from the exact same issue as we had with DJ Stagner, and it looks like it's coming back to bite Caleb. Not good at all. Just like that, he's going to fade back down to where Stagner is. He's now in the 11th position. So fading back more and more for Caleb Morrissey. The number 98 machine, Channel Lock sponsored, has not been able to lock it down so far. Just not what it needs to be out of that number 98 machine tonight. And Dylan Clark still gaining some time. But now Chad Winstead up to 2nd. Dylan Petit is going to find himself in 3rd. And looks like Brad Kress is fading back a bit more than he'd like to admit. 4th place right now for the number 9 machine as Adam Bozzi in a beautiful throwback going to be there in the 5th spot. Now, as you mentioned, throwback night at Darlington, a very common tradition, and right now it looks like Bozzi going to bring his best in that number 27, throwing it back to the Stavola brothers and Donnie Allison, or Bobby Allison, I'll say, a very successful driver, known as one of NASCAR's 75 greatest, Daytona 500 winner, a champion as well, and his best years came in his latest years. The Stavola brothers run in the late 80s until it came to the unfortunate end of Pocono Raceway in 1988, and Bozzi representing a slice of history tonight as that Ford Fusion takes it around. Still right now, no major battles on the circuit save for the back of the field. Terry Brooks and Alan Kunman are now the 2 closest drivers. Kunman going to be 7th, and Terry Brooks is in 8th. Your defending champion, Darlington not going the way he'd like to have it right now as DJ Stagner sees some more trouble. Stagner spins alone, a single car spin. He'll get back on the way, no caution called. And DJ's night has gone from bad to worse, and not good at all for this number 64 team. Just looks like it's going to become an even more tremendous issue. The damage compounding, the front end's now got a bit more, and just like that, DJ Stagner fades back even further. 19 laps in of 147, and just like that, going to be Stagner. Now, penultimate driver on the field, 12th of 13, as Scott Wheeler's back on the way, 13th and last, 1 lap down. we see 19 laps in of 147. Dylan Clark is still your leading driver, and he has been in control each and every lap. Very solid performance so far for the driver of this number 5. Dylan Clark is still holding on exactly what he needs to do in that Ital Kart number 5. A throwback for him to Davey Allison, so the Allison family represented both in father and son, and right now the younger of which out in front, of course, in paint scheme form, looking very good right now for Dylan. Chad Winstead is about a second and a half back, and then from there you're going to see Dylan Petit and Adam Bazzi. Right now the rest of the field still trying to pull themselves back together, but 20 laps in, dominance for your leader who continues to pull away. 21 laps in of 147 right now, and all of a sudden looks like Clark continues to make more time. 1.4 seconds, that's the advantage right now. It looks to be still expanding. Chad Winstead, he's got himself there too. Dylan Petit is then third, and Adam Bazzi's fourth as things continue to get in motion. 21 laps in of 147. We're just getting started, of course, so absolutely a great job for Dylan Clark, but there's still a ways to go. The long run is the most important part of this race. You cannot afford to sacrifice your long run, which will get you that race victory, for a very quick short run. 22 laps in, and that still remains to be the case. Dylan Clark is the leading man. Chad Winstead then second. Dylan Petit is third, and to round out the top 5, you see Adam Bazzi and now Brad Kress. And still looking at these drivers making it by, you can see James McKee gets very loose, and just like that, it's going to be the number 29 machine in the 6th spot. Number 29 of James McKee keeps on rolling right now for the Body Shop team. Let's take a ride on board with McKee as he keeps on going just outside the confines of the top 5. As we ride on board with James McKee right now, working very well inside the cockpit of that number 29. McKee's going to hold on right now in that 6th spot. Nobody else around him, and that's great to see, of course, with nobody there, just able to focus on his own race. And that number 9 holding together as well as he can. That's Brad Kress right ahead of his teammate, and so far, nobody going anywhere. Been mostly single file, mostly stagnation, and just like that, it's going to be the number 47 machine. Now the 27 tonight, of course, of Adam Bazzi, making a move on Chad Winstead, slowly but surely closing in. And as they go through this time by, the 27 of Adam Bazzi gaining on that 3rd spot. And as they come through this time by, 27 machine on the roll bar camera, you'll see how much closer he's getting this time around. 26 laps in of 147 here for Adam Bazzi. He finds himself now in 4th. Chad Winstead's there to round out the podium. Dylan Petit is 2nd, and Dylan Clark is in 1st. And 26 of 147 through the Boeing back straightaway. You can see right now most drivers keeping a very fair distance to one another, and that's the way it's going to stay as drivers hold on to what they've got and have kept it there for quite a while here. The number 23. That's Terry Brooks right now holding his own. Kendall Kerr going to be there in 9th. Caleb Morrissey is in 10th. And Kenny Brooks is 11th. Top 10 going down 13 seconds. And Kenny Brooks is the next man after the fact. And he's right now finding himself in the 15-second margin. Way back right now, 27 laps in of 147. Kenny Brooks only ahead of DJ Stagner and Scott Wheeler. Dylan Clark still has himself out in front, dominant to this point. Some final updates on the Road to Pro situation, still trying to put it together, so we'll ride on board with Dylan Clark again. To number 5, let's ride on board once more as he keeps it going down the backstretch. Right now, Dylan Clark remains the leader. 30 laps through of 147. Keeps himself in a very good spot. Number 5 machine going to be right there, and he's got it in the lead. Dylan Petit going to be there in second, and then from there, Adam Bozzi is in third. And that's how it's been so far. As it stands, Dylan Petit there in second, Adam Bozzi then in third, Chad Winstead position number 4, and that's the way it will remain. 31 laps in of 147. So far, no pit strategy as it stands. That's the way it's been, and so far, so good with the rest of the field keeping it going. The number 8 machine of Alan Kuhlman now getting even closer to Brad Kress. Looks like the Blacktop teammates have been working very well together. Just like that, it's going to be 32 and a 147 with the Blacktop drivers continuing to work together yet again. Right now, one man down the pit road is going to be Caleb Morrissey on his way. Number 98 machine makes it through in the Ford Taurus, and Scott Wheeler now going to pass him in the 4 Horseman machine, making it through 32 laps in of 147. Now up to the top dozen, just like that. It is going to be Wheeler making it through, and he will be now 1 lap down, but ahead of Morrissey as DJ Stagner remains in 11th. And as it stands, it looks like SGB Olaf is going to be asking about what's going on Road to Pro. Now, I can't tell you for certain. I'm trying to keep an eye on it on the back of my view, but I'm not the driver, or rather not the broadcaster, I'll say, taking care of it. Not quite sure. As far as I've been told, internet disconnection, nothing that was apparent to us when we set up, and we are going to try to premiere it tomorrow. I'm not quite sure what's going on right now. We are trying to get the show back on the way, but it appears something went wrong, and we simply cannot get it going tonight, which is a very unfortunate scenario. We'll be back for the finale at Homestead, but something cut, internet issues, what have you, and from what I've been told, we are not going to be able to finish out the broadcast tonight, which I do not believe is going to be the case, and unfortunately, that is how it is. Thank you for stopping by for an information checkup. That's not the information we want to deliver. As we go through once again, thank you for stopping by. Of course, not the news we wanted to deliver, but the field here, the Highline Racing League, giving a fantastic show as well. I'm still trying to update myself on the situation there, but this race is going very well for the most part. Dylan Clark has been dominant so far, putting together a great show, and that's been absolutely the highlight. Clark has been on rails, and almost as if the number 5 machine of Dylan Clark is like at the road course. Now, he's been the road course ringer for the past season and a half. The driver of that number 5 machine has been absolutely the best man at a road course no matter where we go. Road courses like Watkins Glen, even someone like the Charlotte Roval, he's been the best man there. And now here at Darlington, it looks like all of a sudden coming back into play, the best that he has looked ever since last season, and he's been dominant, almost like Alan Kuhlman was a season ago. And we're going to try to stray away from the Road to Pro information and get back to focusing on this broadcast. So if you're here for that, we thank you for stopping by, and we hope to have you tomorrow night. We'll be working on a situation to get Homestead back up. If you're here right now for the Highline Racing League, let's get back into focus here. There is quite a lot to do from this point onward. Right now, the drivers are still hiling in for an interview, and we're going to try to work on what is going on right now. Drivers making their way through 38 laps in 147. We're going to crank it up once again and let them know what's going on as we take you to another Crank It Up today. we return to the action, one driver coming down for a competitive pit stop. That will be Dylan Petit. Down to the inside line, it is going to be Dylan making it through in his number 31. Just like that, another driver down on the move. That's going to be Dylan Petit in the Dodge Charger, making it by 40 laps in of 147. First competitive pit stops, and now we're getting into a rhythm. The question is, when do drivers like Dylan Clark, Adam Bozzi, James McKee, Chad Winstead, when do they make the move, make it through, and 40 in out 147? Is it going to be their time to make it around a pit road, or are they going to stretch it out a bit longer? Chad Winstead, he opts to go down immediately thereafter. The 34 machine makes it in this time by. He's 7th as it stands, and just like that, he makes it down to pit road, 40 laps in, out of 147 on the 147 laps. That's the checkered flag. Currently only at lap number 41, and that's the way it goes so far down the bowling back straightaway. Clark, Bozzi, McKee. 1, 2, 3 as it stands, with Kendall Kerr then 4th. And Kendall Kerr, a very silent night for this number 21 machine. Co-star livery and all, been looking very good, but a very silent run. Kendall now going to find himself inside the top 5, which is the best place to be, of course, to get those consistent runs in, get those good points finishes. DJ Stagner's down to 8th, the lowest place he's been all season long. And if the race ended here, it would actually be the lowest finish of his season overall by a wide margin, over 5 positions. That's how good Stagner's been, but this gives chance for any driver to make up some spots. Now Dylan Clark goes down to pit road. Your race leaders down and in. Going to be Adam Bozzi on the way. Number 27 machine leads the way, and James McKee then going to be 2nd with Kendall Kerr, then in 3rd. 4th is then going to be occupied now by Alan Cummin. Brad Kress will be 5th, and from there on out, it will be 6th in Terry Brooks. Dylan Clark is 7th. DJ Stagner is then 8th, and Dylan Petit will be 9th right now as pit road is becoming open. And now 43 laps in out of 147, we're getting into the cycle for the first time on pit road. And right now, 44 in out of 147. It's Adam Bozzi over James McKee, Kendall Kerr in 3rd, Alan coming 4th, and Brad Kress position number 5. Terry Brooks then going to hold himself in the 6th spot with DJ Stagner then 7th, and Dylan Petit's going to be there in 8th with Dylan Clark then in 9th. It'll be Chad Winstead 10th, Scott Wheeler then in 11th, and Wheeler, as we mentioned him, comes down to pit road and will make his presence known in the Dent Wizard number 97. Just like that, it's going to be Wheeler down to pit road for the first time tonight, and he will make it in. Now 1 lap down, DJ Stagner gets by, promoting him up into 7th, and Adam Bozzi now finds himself the race leader. Let's take a little ride on board 1 lap with the number 27 of Adam Bozzi as he leads the way in Darlington. And as you can see at the line, it was going to be, of course, Adam Bozzi, yet again the leader of the lap, currently finds himself in the 1st spot, and just like that, the number 27 machine puts himself on top, over 2 seconds ahead of the field. Just like that, it's going to be Bozzi leading from James McKee. Kendall Kerr is going to be in 3rd. 4th is going to be occupied then by Alan Cummin. And Terry Brooks is going to be the 5th man. DJ Stagner, position number 6. Stagner right now going to be in the 6th spot with all the drivers coming down to pit road. So even though he's lost a lot of time and has quite a lot of damage, right now it seems like the trouble for him is whether or not he can cycle through and get anything more out of it. Right now, it just looks like he's going to be stuck in no man's land. No other strategy panning out. He's on his own, and that's not a good place to be in at all if you want to run till the end of the race. If you're not on the same strategy, if you're this far out of sync, it's going to come back to bite you, and you're going to feel it as the night progresses. Now, Adam Bozzi right now, your leader, is coming up on Scott Wheeler. Of course, right there, James McKee's right behind, and right now it looks like it's going to be James McKee 2.5 seconds on back. Then from there, Kendall Kerr going to be third, Alan Cummins is fourth, and they're shuffling just a bit as now that number 29 machine takes it down low on Kenny Brooks. Nothing more he can do that time through as he comes down to pit road, opts to end the run, and will take himself in 49 laps of 147. Just like that, it will be James McKee coming through as he takes it to pit road this time by. Another driver coming in, that will be Kendall Kerr, and the Coast Guard machine decides to land his ship and take it down to pit road for the first time tonight. Another driver with their very first stop. Just like that, another man down and in. DJ Stagner now going to be in that 6th position, and from there on out, more drivers coming in as they stretch it up to 50 laps. 55 looks to be the maximum, very similar to Monday night on the Integrity Ignite Series front, and just like that, trouble brewing as Adam Bozzi comes in. That will end his run up ahead. Alan Cummins, same thing. Terry Brooks all coming through as well, and this will promote, it looks like, Dylan Petit back to the race lead. 4 seconds ahead now of Dylan Clark, but Clark has younger tires, 3 laps younger as it stands, and that difference will become clear as the run stretches. Now, right now, that might not be the case, but as time goes on, and definitely as the laps begin to wind down, you want to have young tires. It doesn't matter if it's 1 lap of difference, 2 laps, or 3. 3 is quite big, as a matter of fact. 1 lap almost made the difference on Monday night between Thomas Bresci and Travis McQuistion, and then from there, saw an overtime finish. That changed everything, and from there, it looks like now, the number 51 lap, we have just hit it. Now, it is Dylan Clark leading the way. Now as it stands, 51 laps in of 147. Cody from Roosters Elevated TV coming in this time around to join us in the broadcast booth as he's having some fun from Darlington. So we're going to be welcoming in as we go through our throwback track here in South Carolina. It has been a fantastic show so far. It's Dylan Clark up in front, and he's been as good as he can get all night long. From there on out, you've got guys like Dylan Petit. Petit is scored as the leader, but right now he's got much older tires, and that's going to come back to bite him. And right now, 12 laps compared to the 9 on Dylan Clark. Clark is gaining, and 3.8 seconds will separate them as time continues to wind down. 53 out of 147 as it stands, and Clark is trying to get back to that race lead as we'll bring in Cody right about now. Getting through this time by, it's that Chevy Camaro in second, the most dominant man all day long, and let's get our special guest in as we get things going once again. Now, great to have him right here. It's going to be Cody from Elevated TV. Thank you for stopping by, getting with us here in the Highline Racing League. And right now, it's been a clinic ran by Dylan Clark, but he's not the leader. It's Dylan Petit instead. So a bit of a change as we see pit cycles on the way. Tell us what you know about Darlington as we get things going.
Man, appreciate you. First off, appreciate you letting me come up here in the booth with you. Being kind of sidelined right now, just had a baby. But man, Darlington, man, it's a fun little racetrack. It's kind of one of them tracks. If you ain't running against the wall, you ain't on the edge. And to be fast at Darlington, you got to be on the edge here. And these Gen 4 cars, man, these cars are even more fun here at Darlington because not only you got a 1,000 horsepower race car that's slick and all over the place, you also got to be fast on the high line, and to be, top of the board.
And you're right about that. Momentum is such a big deal here. And one other thing, of course, involving momentum is the tire strategy. Right now, Dylan Clark, according to timing and scoring, has a tire stint that is about 3 laps younger than that of Dylan Petit. Now, that difference might not sound major, but it's going to come back to be even bigger and bigger as time goes on. It's only about 3.5 seconds to gap right now, but that continues to shrink this time by. It looks like Dylan is now within about 3 seconds worth. And as time goes on, tires mean a big deal. What do you know about the tire situation right now, of course, with everyone pushing it so hard? And seeing if we got a copy from Cody once again. If you're still with us, let us know. At 57 laps in at a 147. Looks like a bit of connection issues on the side of our calling server here, so we'll get back to the action, and Dylan Clark is still chasing down the leader of Dylan Petit. Petit finds himself still ahead right now by just about 2.5 seconds. Not too much, but it still is just enough to keep himself on top, and as they come through this time by, tire strategy still going. I think, Cody, you're back with us.
Yeah, man, sorry about that. But, you know, with this racetrack, it's an abrasive racetrack, I feel. You know, it eats up your tires. You got to be conservative. 58 laps of 147. 147 laps is a really long race here. And then, you know, having no cautions, it makes it even longer. You got to play strategy-wise. You can't eat up your tires too bad. As we see here, the 22 machine right up against that wall, right, you know, almost nearly touching it, if not scraping the right rear fender. So this track with tires-wise is a very, very abusive racetrack to your tires.
And we're seeing that right now. Of course, drivers trying to stretch it out, getting some longer runs in. The longest any driver took it so far when it comes to pit strategy, 50 laps on a run. We've been caution-free for 59 laps, so you just missed our first pit cycle, and drivers are getting back into the groove here. Mostly separate, but now we're seeing a bit of a battle here with Brad Kress and that number 9 machine leading his teammate of James McKee and Adam Bozzi as they go through.
Yeah, man, as we see James McKee here. Excuse me if I butcher any of these names. As we see the 29 machine, that's James McKee. He's looking on that number 5 machine. Not pushing the car too hard, it looks like. Kind of just riding, pacing his time, waiting it out. You know, just kind of riding. I mean, he understands, hey, there's 60 laps complete. We still got a long ways to go. Still over, you know, 60 more laps to go here.
And absolutely, more than 60 laps, more than 70 laps. You got more than half the race still to remain, so you do not want to mess up your stuff, lose your equipment right now, and we've seen some drivers have some trouble, but it looks like James McKee now goes up to the top side, gonna lose some momentum, let his teammate right by, and just like that, James McKee gonna take another spot. Now, the thing about Brad Kress, he's on an older set of tire compared to his teammate in that 29. Brad right now finds himself on a 4-lap older set than McKee, and that's why James is able to shoot like a rocket and get away. That's the difference only a few laps make.
Yeah, that number 9 looks like he's struggling a little bit worse than some of these other guys. Not too bad, but he definitely looks way off the pace as we see the 29 here sitting 4th. As he's, you know, you can definitely tell he's on a lot fresher tires than the 9 machine. Kind of just driving away. We see I believe it's a 27 right there behind him. Passing the number 9 machine. So the number 9 looks like he's definitely struggling tire-wise. Not too much, but he definitely looks like he's on an older set than these guys in front of him.
That older set going to come back to bite him as right now looking up in front. Let's take a look back up to Dylan Petit. He's still your race leader, still has that advantage, but you can see right now Dylan Clark is in the background, slowly but surely clawing away at that top spot. Was an advantage of 4 seconds. Now it looks to be within 2, and that's how much quicker Clark is. He's been the best man all night long. He's been dominant. Almost led it flag to flag before the caution came out. Now all of a sudden, he's back there again, and we're right on board as he continues to chase down your leader of Dylan Petit.
Yeah, and you got to notice here. Remember I said, you know, we got to ride to the high side. On a long run like this, the high side, yes, is the fast way to go around this racetrack. But if you notice these guys, when they come into the corner, they're almost like diving in the corner and then letting the car shift up almost to the wall, and then kind of coming off the bottom of the corner. And in 3 and 4 here, you see him right up against that wall, not too far from it. But to be really fast here, you know, you'll see it later on in the race. These guys will be right up against that wall. So definitely looks like he's biding his time as well, not trying to push the car too hard. As you see him come in bottom of the corner, shift right up to the wall, coming down off the racetrack, down to the bottom, up off excuse me, tongue-tied there, up off for 2. And you can see that ground he gained. You see that of the number 5 of Dylan Clark. You see how much ground he gains there into 3. And David, it looks like he's catching the number 31.
I'll tell you this much, catching big right now, the pace is clearly going to be much better for that number 5 machine. Dylan Clark going to be here as the chat room gets active once again. MDLXL, SJB Olaf, Lawrence Stazweski Jr. Thank you all for stopping by. Great to have you here. And now that our full focus is here on the Highline Racing League, it is exciting for Dylan Clark to be chasing down Dylan Petit. This would be the first green flag pass for the lead we've had all night long, if you can believe that much. That's how far apart most drivers have been. Dylan's been doing a great job, of course, of keeping himself in this position to fight for the top spot, but it looks like Clark is just that much quicker. He goes down low, going to use a different arc, and he's gained time every time so far. He is that much better lap after lap.
Yeah, and David, you see a lot of people say, hey, man, why don't they go below that white line? Well, these guys right here showing you, as we see the 5 coming to the inside, he is right on the edge. That white line, David, is not where you want to be. You want to be right above it, because you get down there on that apron, it is a no-go. And a lot of these drivers will tell you the same thing. Stay off the apron. Darlington has been, known for that. But the 5 car, David, he's using a lot of that apron, more than you would think he would use entering the corner and coming off.
Now, the thing is, he's using that apron right before the entry of the corner. So we'll take a look at it once again, as you mentioned. Down the bowling backstretch, Clark this time opts to go a bit higher, but you're right. He's using that apron, and I think the reason is he's trying to get a bit more drive into the corner, put a more throttle down, and instead of using the brakes, he's using the track to slow him down just enough to slide to the bottom. Dylan Clark goes for the race lead, uses that apron again, as you mentioned, and it's enough to get the pass. He lets the track do the work, slow him down, get him back together, and just like that, Clark is back on the way and finds himself with the race lead out in front, just ahead of Dylan Petit.
Yeah, and now you got to begin to wonder, David, has that 31 burned his tires up? And even the 5 car, you got to begin to wonder, did he use up a little bit more than he would like trying to get around the 31? Because the 31 did not make it easy. But another good thing about the apron is, David, you don't burn up tires like you was saying down there. Running that high line, you're going to burn up tires because it makes the car loose. And loose is fast here, being on that high line. So you begin to wonder there, or, did the 31 say, hey, he's a lot faster than I am right now? Go on, go past me. I'll eventually be back there at the end.
Now, I don't think it was that nice, of course, between the two drivers, but you're right. Dylan made it very hard to get around, and that might be the case. Let Dylan Clark right now, it's a Dylan to Dylan show, mind you, but let Clark get that pass, get away, wear out his stuff, and maybe try to reel him back in later. We saw that in the first run. We saw guys like James McKee, Brad Kress, the guys up ahead before. They were trying to claw down that gap before Dylan eventually was able to still get away. We saw the gap as close as 0.4 of a second. Now, as it stands, Dylan Clark is going to lead by just about half a second at the very most, but still, Dylan's got a ways to go if he wants to continue to stretch that lead, and it's a very long process. It's not about making that pass, it's about keeping that pass, and right now, while Dylan does have the spot, it's going to take a lot to keep it there without much trouble.
Oh, yeah, and you got to begin to wonder, the pit window. I'm not sure what the pit window is, but you got to begin to wonder when these guys are going to be coming down pit road. I've personally seen 12 laps since I joined the booth with you. So I know Darlington, it's like I said, it's a very abrasive racetrack, very hard on the tires, and you got to begin to wonder, when are these guys going to come down the pit road?
And I think they're going to come down within the next 20 laps. So to give you the update, as it stands, Dylan Clark has been on his stint for 30 laps. Then Dylan Petit's been on his for 33. Chad Winstead, who's in third, has been on it for 31 as he just gets passed multiple times over. Adam Bozzi, James McKee both make a bye. And just like that, the podium going to change hands as Winstead now finds himself outside in the 5th position. So 30-something laps we're in so far. The runs are about 50-odd laps each and every time, so we'll be seeing pit cycles begin at about lap 90 or so, and that's when drivers will opt to come back in yet again, get themselves ready, and they'll do it all over again. They came down to pit road once. They know what it's about. Now they've got to go at it again and understand it a bit more. Maybe that experience will help a guy like Dylan Petit as he tries to chase down your race leader.
Yeah, definitely. Running him back down here. And I always wonder, is the 5 kind of seeing what the 31 was doing, and the 5's now laying back and saying, hey, maybe I need to stay up a little bit more than what I am. So, but it is. We're up here in the booth. They're down there in the driver's seat. We don't know what's going through their minds. That we just know they're racing as we see the 31 get really loose. David looks like he's struggling to loose it off. I'm not sure if you guys have been doing that the entire race, but it looks like he is definitely loose up off the corner.
I think that's a product of the way these guys have been driving the cars. We're going to take a look inside of the cockpit here and try to give you a perspective not only of the steering motions, but of the outside view. So we're looking at a bit of the handwork on the left side of your screen, and it doesn't look like right now we have any better angle. We're going to try to find one, but we'll get something to show you what is going on. Here we go. Now you can see the movement inside the cockpit of Dylan Petit. Watch where he's going, where he moves the wheel, and these are precise movements here on iRacing. These are as realistic as it gets. Everything has a purpose. Right now, we'll see whether or not he's making the right moves, or as you said, he might be struggling.
Yeah, I definitely think he's a little bit more loose than what he wants to be, and and I mentioned loose is fast at Darlington. You don't want to have a tight race car because you're going to fence it. But I definitely think with them only being on a 20 lap or 20 or 30 lap stint, and then being able to go 50 laps, I feel like he's a little bit looser off than what he wants to be. But I could be wrong there.
And right now, 77 laps in, more than halfway, and it looks like you're right, very loose off the corner there, so I think you're putting up a good observation. Dylan is struggling right now. The car's loose, 0.6 of a second. That is the gap, and 78 in at 147. Time continuing to pass by. We're taking a look back now at the battle for third. You'll see James McKee, Adam Bozzi, both of which working with one another within 0.2 of a second, and 78 in. These drivers are trying to put themselves in a better position to get inside the top three, not only in this race, but in the point standing. So coming into tonight, DJ Stagner, as many viewers would know, he's been dominant. Won at Daytona. His worst finish this season is a second place finish. That's how good he's been. He's absolutely phenomenal so far on the tour, but tonight has been a struggle. He got inside the wall multiple times in the first 10 laps. He's had right side damage ever since. He's running in ninth. This is his worst finish by far if it ended right now. That's how good he's been, but it also means it's a perfect opportunity for anyone else to make time as Dylan Petit opts to come down to pit road early. This is about his 40th lap on the run. Comes down this time by. Pit road is busy, and the first man in is Dylan struggling with that car.
Yeah, and if I'm Dylan and I'm sitting second, and I know I've had such a big lead on third place, I'm gonna come down. I'm gonna probably take either right side tires or some gas and kind of go. But with him struggling, you're probably gonna see 4 tires, some gas, and he's gonna go out here to try to keep his car straight. And we should be seeing the 5 car here. The other Dylan, the guy that was leading the race, we're gonna probably be seeing him come down pit road here in the next I'm gonna say 8 to 10 laps.
Now, he did come down a bit later just to get those newer tires, so I'll have to agree with you here. He does not want to come in early. Of course, you do not want to use your stuff early knowing what is going on. So Dylan Clark is going to find himself ahead 6 seconds back as James McKee. Adam Bozzi there is going to be third, and Ken Curtis then in fourth. Very spread out right now. No cautions on the day, and that just goes to show how these drivers are running their own race, not putting each other in harm's way. Free of cautions. Now, last time we raced at Darlington, which was the next gens in this league, 150 miles. I believe we only had 1 caution, and Alan Kunman dominated. Alan's down to pit road as we mentioned him, and the number 8 machine comes through this time by in the 7th spot. The thing about this league, if you haven't picked it up already, Cody, I'm sure you're picking it up right now, these guys will race with respect. In a race like this, not a lot of drivers going on the field, only 12 still going at it, so not the biggest crowd tonight, but they are all racing with respect. Good battles when they get close, and not a lot of drivers doing way too much, as we're now watching the battle for what is second. McKee and Bozzi to watch off the back bumper of James McKee.
Yeah, and I look back at that 27 car, David, and it reminds me of an old Sterling Marlin, throwback car. Just a couple different colors, or even something Rusty Wallace would drive, as we see him there battling for second. You got to begin to wonder, David, and I know you mentioned these guys racing with respect, but, Darlington, you got to kind of race each other with respect, because one little wrong move, one little slip up, and you're going to fence the guy if you don't fence yourself and take each other out. So definitely got to race with respect. These guys are doing a great job of it and putting on a show for the race fans that are watching.
And putting on a very good show, as you mentioned. At Darlington, there's so little racing room, you cannot afford to, mess up, be so aggressive. There's not enough room. You simply can't fit a move like that. So drivers are going to opt instead to, run around each other, wait for the perfect opportunity. You cannot get overzealous. You cannot push early. You're going to come back and see that it will bite you, and it might just take away a good run. Right now, Dylan Clark leads from James McKee, Adam Bozzi right there, and right now, about 40-odd laps, 45 in their run. These drivers are choosing to stay out even still. Looks like Dylan was just struggling on that run. He needed to come in early. He's on a 4-lap run right now. Chad Winstead's been on his set for 6. Some guys choosing to go early, others choosing to do it a bit different. The final stint of this race is ahead of us. 85 laps in out of 147, which would give us just about 62 laps remaining. So you have to get one more pit stop in. Doesn't matter how you split it, how you go about it, what have you. You gotta understand 50 laps is the pit window, 62 laps is what's left. There is a pit stop required no matter what. Some guys are gonna try to split this segment, some guys are gonna go long. Whatever works out, well, we're gonna find out who gets it better. Some drivers already setting up for that final moment because they know that's the make or break stop, not this one.
Yeah, and we see these guys fighting for second as we see the 27 trying to go to the outside to pass. I believe that's James McKee. And David, you mentioned a while ago how tight this racetrack is and how tight the racing is, man. It's hard enough to go too wide, and sometimes you may even see through wide. But it's crazy to think, how tight these guys are racing, how clean these guys are racing, and they're not, wrecking each other. As we see the 64 is going to get real loose. As we look a little bit further behind them too, David, we got the guy that's been out front all night, Dylan, I think that's Petit, the guy behind them in the number 31 in the cat machine. He's coming back through the field as he completed his pit stop early on. His head. Whoa, he gets really loose off the car too.
But it doesn't matter that he got loose. He is fast right now. That car is on rails, and as you mentioned, he is flying through the corner. Look at how much speed he gains right there. He didn't have a great entry in the corner. He's still much faster. Takes it down to the bottom side. He will now already have Bozzi passed. Adam Bozzi going to lose a spot. James McKee up next. So this is the advantage of getting your stuff early. Your tires, your fuel. You get to feel this moment. You're running on a high of sorts. You're that much quicker than everyone else. Nobody can stop you, and now it looks like it's going to be a huge move for Dylan Petit right there. Already going to put himself back in a good position. 7th place, but he's still about 18 seconds away from the next driver. 1 lap down overall. Terry Brooks is 6th, Brad Kress 5th, and so on and so forth. Half of the drivers have chosen to come down early. Rest of the field, not so much. Terry stays on the track. Almost looked like he went down low. Half the guys have already come through. Rest of the field thinking to do it different. So now the question is, which is the best strategy? Still a ways to go till we really find that one out, but Dylan Petit wants to lead those who are doing it his way, and Dylan Clark, of course, wants to keep leading the way he's done it all night long.
Also, David, I want to make a point too. I know you said that it's a 50-lap stint, and we had 63 to go or 64 to go a while ago. I believe, if I'm not wrong, Dylan Petit, the 31 machine, is gonna have to make a splash and go pit stop. Am I right there?
I think a splash and go might be the way to do it. I mean, he has to pit. Either he's going to splash and go, which would be very risky, or he goes in the middle of this sector. 57 laps to go. He's already on his run for 10 laps. So he would have to go to pit road. I'm thinking middle of the split, so maybe 25 laps from now. But yes, he has to pit, and a lot of these drivers back there do. Chad Winstead, he has to. Alan Kuhlman, it might come down to a pit road for him. Scott Wheeler, not so much. Kenny Brooks, I think that's the case. If you've been on the track for more than 10 laps, you basically have to go down to pit road again. The drivers who are still keeping it out here, they want to stay out as long as they possibly can to avoid that extra pit stop. And right now, even though they're much slower, they're still there. And with 56 laps to go, and you're telling me there's a chance? I think there might be. Dylan Clark, Bozzi, McKee, Kendall Kerr, all of those who have kept themselves out, they're still there with no trouble.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here watching the 5 machine of Dylan. It's one of the Dylans. I'm not sure which Dylan it is, but I'm sitting here watching the 5. He is our leader right now. He's beginning to make me wonder, is he going to try to push it to lap 50 before he comes down? No, he's coming down now. Excuse me on that one. What are you thinking here, David?
Well, I think this is going to have to be the one. 55 laps to go. You can push it to 55 laps if you really want to. It's a make-or-break stop here, so the question is, can he even stretch it 55 laps? Dylan's been the fastest guy, bar none, all night long. I don't think there's a question of pace, but now the question is, how much can he conserve? Coming through this time by, Dylan Clark started in first, currently finds himself in the 6th spot, but looking overall at his overall stats, this is the lowest he's been all race long. That's how good Dylan Clark has been tonight. Relative to the field, he's been a step above, and that Ital Carton number 5 will take it in this time around, going for his second and potentially final through. And Ryan Potter saying Clark's going to have to go one more time down a pit road, so this will not be it. Looks like the stretch is not possible for 55 laps. There will be one extra stop regardless. It was a stretch. Might not work out. Ryan Potter with the insight there. So Cody, with that in mind, we see one pit stop, still expecting another.
Yeah, I definitely think they're going to get their tires on this stop, and like I said, a lot of these guys are going to try to push till that lap 50 mark to get tires and gas and know they have to make it. But the guys that are not are going to definitely have to come down for a splash and go. It's probably going to be 2 laps of gas enough to get them to the or 2 gallons of gas enough to get them to the end. As we see this group, each and every one of them, I've been sitting here watching, each and every one of them has hit the wall. It looks like a lot of them are struggling loose. And David, this is where it brings into that, remember I said, abrasive racetrack. Their tires are gone at this point. They've run a big stint on their tires, and now they're just kind of biding their time, trying to make it to that 50 to go mark, trying to make it to that mark where they are only going to have to make one more pit stop. And you got to begin to wonder who's going to tear the wall down first and who's not.
We've seen so many drivers take those Darlington stripes, as you mentioned. It looked like DJ Stagner would tear the wall down earlier in the race, but as everyone's gotten it back together once again, it looks like that's not going to be much of a worry. But Stagner's on the wall again. Very big trouble for DJ, and as you mentioned, these guys are really close to tearing this wall down. DJ's had a lot of trouble all night long, though. That's just something he's had to focus on, and it looks like Brad Crest comes down to pit road this time by. So drivers are now stretching it to 50 laps to go. This will bring Brad Crest in, potentially for his sake, the final time. He stretched it far. Now some drivers are trying to stretch it to the triple digits. Adam Bozzi leads the way. Looks like DJ Stagner, Brad Crest both come down to pit road. Now James McKee is going to be in the picture with 50 laps to go. We get our first caution of the day. Yellow flag is out for Winstead as he finds himself almost up and over. Yellow flag will fly, and after nearly 100 laps of green flag racing, we find ourselves under caution.
Yeah, and them guys that are just now coming down pit road, that is not what they are wanting to see. But your front runners like the 27, as we see, whoa, the 64 goes around. That is the guy that we've said has been faster than the 8 just comes through, and I believe he didn't realize that Winstead was checking up and just got to the back end of it there, David.
And simply did not recognize the call down to pit road. DJ Stagner, he ended up involved in that one. Chad Winstead there too. And just like that, the caution flies after 100 laps of racing. Clean to this point, and then we see some trouble through the green flag cycle. And that usually catches out drivers. If you cannot signal, you'll end up in the wall, and it's not going to be a good deal at all. Yellow flag is out. 99 laps in of 147 for what a clean race it's been. We find ourselves under yellow for the very first time, and now pit road not necessarily busy with the front runners, but the rest of the guys who did not go in, they've got no choice right now. They're making it in this time by. Their run to pit road is now. We'll take a look at who's on pit road in specific. Taking a look in specific, it is Adam Bozzi who leads it, then James McKee, Kendall Kerr, and Terry Brooks with Dylan Batiste rounding out the 5 who are on pit road. Now flying through, Bozzi gets the edge, and he'll keep himself out in front as he exits pit road this time by.
Yeah, and David, I'm kind of, confused. I'm not really confused. I'm not sure what the word I'm looking for is, but I'm kind of, bemuzzled that the 5 of Dylan Clark didn't come down and go ahead and get his splash and go for gas. And I'm not sure if he didn't, but even the front runner guys, the 31, Dylan Petit, I'm very surprised these guys didn't come under caution right here so they wouldn't lose a lot of position and go a lap down. And I'm surprised they didn't come down to get their gas now and try to, stretch it out here.
Well, in terms of Dylan Petit, it looks like on our end he did go down to pit road, but you're right about Dylan Clark right now. He's coming in now with the second bunch, so a second group of drivers will come in this time by with 48 laps to go. Going to be Dylan Clark, the last of them in, then Alan Kunman, Chad Winstead, DJ Stagner, and Kenny Brooks. So another bunch comes in as you mention them, and just like that, pit road active with the second group, and this will give Dylan Clark slightly newer tires, so he might not have track position, but he does have slightly better equipment. So what's that going to mean in terms of one lap? Because the 5 has been fast, but now he's going to be mired in the back.
And sitting here thinking too, with it not being a caution for race, it looks like Dylan. I'm not sure how many sets of tires they get. But if it's hard to play a strategy here. You have a race that has gone not under caution at all until now. So now here's Dylan Clark's chance, and even Dylan Petit. Here's his chance. We've seen him fast all day, him in the 5, and they're coming from the rear of the field here with 47 to go, knowing they don't have to pit again. So it's kind of go all out here. Try to stay out of the Darlington stripes, as we call them, and you're going to see these cars that are running the high side, and I'm sure, David, you're going to see this 5 car and even that 31 car coming to the front.
And it looks like now the charge to the front is all that's on the mind of Dylan Clark, leading the way earlier before. Adam Bozzi going to be up in front, and now James McKee there to round out the front row. Kendall Kerr going to be third, Dylan Petit then fourth, and Terry Brooks rounds out the top 5. Just like that, the field will head at it yet again with 46 laps to go. This time by, it is going to be first restart after so long. Now it's time to see who's got what it takes as they come through double file yet again. Pace car, the lights are out, and already most of the field is in formation. 12 of the 13 still going. Yeah,
definitely. And it's kind of going to be interesting to see what this 27 and the 29 done. We see them running third and fourth behind the 2 front runners while ago until the front runners pitted. So it's going to be very interesting to see, say the least, to see what's going to happen here. And you got the 21 car going to be coming here too. So I'm kind of interested to see what's going to happen here, David.
And I'm interested to see what will go on as well as they come through this time by. And it's going to be, for the first time, Adam Bozzi, your control cars. The green flag flies yet again. It looks like Dylan Petit's in trouble with some very loose behavior. He gets it straight, and we're back underway with 45 remaining.
Yeah, and very quickly to get single file. And it was almost, I was kind of confused there what the field was doing on the bottom, why so many cars were on the bottom. Is everybody's going to be loose up off of 2. And I was confused at what the field was doing there on the bottom and only having 2 cars on the outside. But, still a long race, 45 to go, like I mentioned earlier. It's a long ways around Darlington. So definitely, kind of still biding your time, but not biding your time too much here, David.
Right now, biding your time, and I think that's going to be thrown out of the window. 44 laps to go, and for a guy like the number 8 of Alan Kunman, he's the middle of the field. Let's take a look at these guys who are not up there in front. You have to get going. Dylan Clark, he needs to get through. He's 3 seconds back on the leaders right now. He was very, very quick before. He was the fastest man for the first 50-some laps, but when you're in 7th right now, you can't do a damn thing unless you get going. And right now, Adam Bozzi has it up there in the first spot. James McKee going to be there in 2nd. Kendall Kerr then in 3rd. 1, 2, 3, and it's a different group ahead. And Bozzi's got that clean air. And I think that might be the biggest thing right now. Everyone on even tires, everyone on a level playing field, track position, it gives you clean air. And right now, Adam is using it to the fullest extent. He's got the edge, and he's using it as he needs it.
Yeah, and you say everybody kind of just biding their time. Everybody biding their time, but they're kind of, not trying to push, but they're not trying to push too hard. And like I said, you're going to see these cars start to run the top, and you can see the 27 way up there against the wall. Even the 31 almost nipping the wall going down the backstretch into 3. So it definitely going to be good as we see the 31 of Dylan Petit back there battling with the looks like to be the 4th position. I'm not sure who he's battling with back there. So definitely seeing him come to the front, as well.
And now some driver trying to battle through. As you mentioned, Dylan Petit, not the best of restarts, but he's still got it going all the same. Currently finds himself in 4th. He's been bouncing around the pack as low as 9th, up to a high of 2nd, and he knows what it's like to be up there for the race lead. And as a matter of fact, I don't think as high as 2nd, as high is 1st. Either way, he's seen quite a lot of the field so far tonight, and there is a ways to go as there's still time to make it happen. He's now in the back bumper of Kendall Kerr. Let's take a ride on board right now as Dylan Petit works his magic.
Yeah, and you'll see him right there on the high line, trying to make the high line work. We noticed earlier too with the 5 when he was behind Dylan here that he was using the apron, but we see Dylan here. He's running that middle groove, David. He's not entering the corner. He's not trying to be too low. Whereas you see the car in front of him, that 21. He's on the apron as we see him go to the inside. And it looks to be helping Dylan running that middle groove, David.
And I think that middle groove worked out just fine through 3 and 4. He takes it nearly down to the apron, shades of Dylan Clark, and now finds himself riding up high. Nice move there for Dylan Petit, gets him up in the 3rd. Best he's been on this run, and just like that, within the podium places, not bad at all as we look at the number 31. He's now a 2nd away from the lead battle. How about this one? It is Adam Bozzi and James McKee. Cody, I know this is your first time seeing the Highline Racing League, but man, oh man, when these two battled last season, it was electric. Best 2 drivers in the regular season. McKee came out with the most race wins, but Adam Bozzi was always on his tail. Didn't matter what track it was, didn't matter what configuration, did not matter. These two were on it every night, every Thursday night last season. And these are the Gen 4s, not the next gens anymore, so they have not gotten a lot of time around each other. But now, they're up there, best in the business, working it through, 38 laps to go, and all of a sudden, we might see a good old-fashioned Bozzi and McKee battle as it was before. But that's going to take chasing down Adam because that number 27, it looks like right now he's in total control, and he's tamed this track a bit better than anyone else.
Yeah, and I was just looking here on my paper, man. I've seen that they were teammates, and they are not teammates. So, to see, hard racing out of the 2 that are not teammates, that's something you just don't see. So, to know they're not teammates and they put on really good racing like that, it just shows how much respect they have for each other and how clean of racing they put on. You do a lot of, I've been doing this for a while now, broadcasting and stuff like that. And, you don't see too many people, especially 2 guys that are put on a show and race clean and not touch. So to come in here and for my first time ever and see these guys racing like this is pretty cool. To know that they race like this all the time.
And they are not teammates. You're right about that. Multiple big teams right here in the Highline Racing League. The biggest of which is, of course, our defending champion team, Blacktop Racing. They got it done with Alan Koopman last season. They have Kendall Kerr, James McKee, Brad Kress all under their belts. But looking before the era of the Blacktop dominance, it was, of course, back-to-back championships for Scott Wheeler. Now, he got it done in seasons 13 and 14. Last time we ran the Gen 4s was season 13, broadcasted on FTF. Then they moved over to FTN for the next gens, and that's when Wheeler won his 2nd in a row. He and the 4 horsemen, Caleb Morrissey, and right now, of course, Adam Bozzi's for Queen City Racing. It's been a difference of teams. Doesn't matter which you are in. You're all racing everyone else. Doesn't matter your teammate affiliation, manufacturer, what have you. It doesn't matter. You got to race everyone with respect, and you race everyone hard. You're here to win, and that's the mentality right now. Every driver pushing each other to the limit as Terry Brooks, representing ASC Services and Supply, finds himself down to the bottom side looking for the 5th place. Brooks getting closer to Brad Kress, but hasn't had a chance to shoot it deep and make the pass.
Yeah, and this pack right here, shaping up to be a really good racing right here. Looks like to be a 5-car pack. And our guy that was leading the race right before the caution come out, David, he's in the back of that pack. I believe that what I'm hearing, that's the furthest he's been back all race. Dylan Clark here sits currently 7th. 32 laps to go, I'm sure, David, about 25 to go, you're going to see him start pushing this race car, and he's going to be making a charge to the front, trying to get pickup spots. But, maybe, new tires is not what his car likes. Maybe his car likes the old tires, especially with the abrasive racetrack.
And the thing about Dylan Clark right now, he's still just about 4 seconds away from Adam Bosey. Now, it hasn't changed much in terms of the gap. It doesn't matter, of course, if you're looking at it from the long perspective or the short term. It's only changed about give or take 0.3 of a second overall, so Clark is still about dead even where he was relative to the leader. Now, the thing is, he's caught in dirty air, so if he tries to push, he's going to get caught up with the air, sending him up and down the track, and that's going to end up maybe making his run that much worse, because Bosey right now is in clean air. He's got good spirits. He's up there where he needs to be, but take a look who's now down low. Dylan Petit is in there and finds himself now in the second spot. Dylan makes the move, and just like that, the number 31 takes it up to second with a clean pass around James McKee as the 29 makes the move. He slots right in, puts himself in the runner-up spot.
Yeah, and Dylan, me as a broadcaster and driver, I feel like he's pushing the car just a little bit too hard. 30 to go, still a long race, still a long ways to push your car. But maybe him running that middle line is what's helping him, maybe save tires. You'll see a lot of these guys that are running that bottom, and, Dylan's running right by them like they're sitting still. But he's also running that middle line too. So, that could be helping him with the tire conservation too.
And right now, trying to conserve those tires, every driver is, but Petit might be doing the best of everyone. That time by, it was 1/10 of a second quicker than Adam Bosey. It was a 30.691 for Bosey. It was a 30.608 for Dylan Petit. He's the only driver quicker than your race leader right now, and that time through he's quicker by 0.2 of a second. So clearly, much better time after time for Dylan Petit. He's getting faster and faster relative to his competition, so Dylan might be able to come home with his first win of the season. He's not been the biggest in terms of contention in races to this point in the title hunt, but here at Darlington, fates can change. Drivers can, get themselves their bearings back in. It could be the difference between having a good run of the championship or fading back entirely. This is a big night on the schedule. Throwback night with the Gen 4s and all, so you really want to have a good run here. And look at this, the 31 machine getting even closer to Bosey. Now there's even better of a chance. It's Bosey, Petit, now within 0.4 of a second, within 1/10 of a second. That's how close they've gotten within the past lap with 27 laps remaining.
Yeah, that 31 trying to draw to the back bumper, that number 27 off of 4. He's looks very, very strong. Looks a lot stronger than the 27. He's going to try to dive through the middle like he has been all night and try to get him up, and the 27 is going to shift up, and here comes the 31 back down to the bottom as he's looking back to the inside. Down the backstretch, the 31 is going to get a little bit looser off of 2 and try to work back to the back bumper of the 27 here through 3 and 4 as he's going to work up high, try to go cross him up here, try to get the momentum up off the bottom, and pull alongside of him down the front stretch, David.
And he's going to exactly do as you said. He tried to pull down to the front stretch, but didn't have enough speed there. So go at it once again, using a bit of the apron, runs up high, takes that second apex and works it down low. Up and down throughout the little racing group you have here at Darlington. You might not have a lot, but you got to work it as best as you can. With 25 laps to go, that's exactly what Dylan Petit is doing here as he makes it around once again. That number 31 machine has been on the back bumper for several laps now, closing in even more. Riding on board with their second place driver. He still is faster, but not enough right now to make a pass.
Yeah, definitely looks a lot stronger than the 27 as they work on air and 1 and 2 down the Boeing back stretch, as they call it here at Darlington. The 27 looks like he's got a lot more drive up off the corner than the 31 does, but the 31 looks like he's got better entry than the 27 and better center through the corner than the 27. But that drive up off, as you see him there, loose up off the corner.
That drive is exactly what he did not want to have. It's a lack of drive off the corner. 23 laps to go, and he's once again back at square one. Dylan Petit, all of a sudden, is going to be there way back in second, and it's a huge gap, half a second's worth with 23 laps remaining. As always, live on FTN, we're going to crank it up with the best camera partner on the iRacing service, celebrating 15 years of iRacing here on FTN, and we're doing it in style with track cams for gourmets, trackcams22.com, providing over 100 track and car combinations for your iRacing needs. With 22 laps to go, let's crank it up, courtesy of our friends at trackcams22.com. And with 17 laps to go, this time by Adam Bozzi remains your race leader, 1 second ahead, and it looks like after a threat from Dylan Petit, that one slip up made all the difference, sliding off of corners 3 and 4, and it looks like now Bozzi is going to find himself with no trouble. James McKee now putting that pressure right back down on Dylan Petit. They'll take it side by side if James can just slide it down low, and that he does. So all of a sudden, that number 31 machine just can't make it stick, and it's now going to be James McKee's second. How about that? The 29 makes it by, and Dylan is slowly but surely fading back.
Yeah, it looks. I'm kind of said it earlier. I was hoping he weren't going to burn his stuff up trying to fight through the field, but it looks like that's what he's done, or even maybe he's, saving a little bit. He's, trying to say, hey, I was pushing a little bit too hard. I need to save a little bit, and that looks to me, either he's burning his stuff up early on, or he's trying to save here as we work into 14 to go.
And 14 laps to go next time around, and Adam Bozzi on this restart took full control, did exactly what he needed to do, and now puts himself in the prime spot to get it done with only 14 laps left. But a very calm race, only one caution on the day, and very few drivers remain in contention. Right now, the closest battle is between Dylan Petit and James McKee. That's how spread apart the rest of the field is. Looking on back, you'll see right now, Kendall Kerr going to be around side Dylan Clark and Brad Crest there, and this actually is now going to get much closer because Clark is turning it up. But is it too little, too late? I think it might just be. 6 seconds separate the number 5 machine from your current race leader. But now for the Italcart team, Dylan Clark making some moves and rushing down to the bottom, trying to make it by Brad Crest as he's sandwiched in between the Blacktop Racing teammates.
Yeah, and it looks like Dylan, I believe it's Clark is in that number 5. He's trying to start pushing that car a little bit. He says, hey, there's 13 to go. I've still got a long ways to go to make up to the 27 of Bozzi. And he's trying to, I feel like, David, he has saved too much. I feel like he's, didn't push early enough. And, he's like, hey, now I've waited too late. And it's kind of one of them things. You gotta figure out when to go or not go, and I feel like he waited a little bit too long to go.
Now looks like now not enough time for Dylan Clark with 12 laps remaining. Of course, trying to make some passes here with Brad Crest, but it just can't happen right now. Looks like still some trouble as he's sandwiched in between the number 9 and the number 8. Looking further up in front, you'll see right now James McKee pulling away from Dylan Petit. Adam Bozzi leads the way in that number 27 machine and holds his head up high with 11 laps left as he hopes to come back to victory lane. Last season was not able to compete full-time for a championship, and although he had a fantastic regular season, just was not meant to be in the playoffs where things began to fall apart, just not having enough time to make every race. And that was the difference between, of course, a championship chance and a fading out entirely. Now Bozzi, with over a second and a half to kill, has that race lead with 10 laps to go. You think there's anything else running through his mind right now, or is it all about logging those laps and just getting there till the end?
I think he's so far ahead, he's just kind of logging laps right now. I don't think he's really worried about the guy behind him. I think he's like, hey, I'm far enough ahead. I don't have to push my car too hard, but I have to kind of keep a steady pace. That way I don't get, the guys behind me don't catch me too bad. But I definitely think he's, still kind of got that in the very back of his head that, hey, I still need to be worried about the guys behind me. But I think at this moment right now, he's just kind of logging laps, trying to figure figure out what he's got to do if they do intentionally catch him.
I don't think right now with 9 laps to go there's much a chance, and that's the big deal right now. James McKee finds himself over 1 second behind. You gotta be pushing hard if there's any opportunity, and so far, with so little time left, and all that we've seen, restarts determine races. We only get one tonight, and it looks like that has changed how this race has gone. The flagman, barring the flagman, still waiting on board as we now only have 8 laps remaining, and while James McKee has put together a great race to get up there into second, it would take a miracle for his sake to get back up there and maybe have a chance for a race win. That's the way I'm looking at it, at least right now, as Dylan Clark remains in this big battle. These three are fighting harder than anyone else, but still nothing has come of it.
Yeah, looks like Dylan is trying to get around that number 9 machine, but that number 9 is just kind of riding his line, and it's almost the same line that the number 5 running to Dylan Clark, so Dylan's kind of trying to work his way around and try to find a better way to get around him. Our hope in the 9 is we see Dylan way down on the bottom of the apron. I mean, almost below the white line there.
And it looks like now drivers trying to use that apron strategy as well. One thing we've seen in iRacing that isn't always replicated in the real world. The grip down below with the apron can sometimes actually help a driver get the advantage through the corners as opposed to running it normally. And right now for Dylan Clark, he's had a lot of success using that apron style line. Tonight, it was looking to be a very nice and smooth race for him, but ever since that first caution, just hasn't been able to make it back. 6 laps to go, and Brad Kress has a bit of trouble. He'll have to go down low. Dylan Clark does. Kress straightens it out, but that will be a 2-for-1 pass. And just like that, Brad is going to fall below into position number 6. Big move for Dylan Clark. Alan Cumman going to be there as well. And just like that, Dylan Clark inside the top 5, but he's still got ways to go until Kendall Kerr, Dylan Petit, and eventually your top 2 in James McKee and Adam Bozzi as 5 laps remain.
Yeah, and that number 27 machine, he is, I mean, David, he is in another zip code at this point. It doesn't look like McKee's going to catch him. He is extending that lead to almost a 2-second lead. So as we're coming around off of 4, McKee is, the 27 is going to see 4 laps to go. And David, at this point, do you think that the second place man is going to be able to catch him?
I don't think there's quite much left right now. 2 seconds separating your top 2. Jacob Halm already in chat saying that if it were for Adam Bozzi to come through with 4 laps left, it would be a sweep on the week for Queen City Racing. So with that in mind, Adam Bozzi finds himself in a great spot to get it done, and now going to take it down with only 3 laps left. Looking to sweep the week right now for the Queen City crew, and it's the best possible outcome if they can get it done, not only at the very exciting race we saw at Okayama, but now doing it in Darlington for the most international, most brand new culture shock type of racing we've seen all throughout the season. Now we find ourselves at one of NASCAR's most traditional tracks, and Lucas Lodato got it done in Okayama. Now here with 3 laps to go, going down to 2, it will be Bozzi trying to get it done for Queen City, bringing together a 2-for-2 on the week. Only one team so far has gone back-to-back on the week 6 this season. That was DJ Stagner doing it by himself at Daytona. Now Bozzi's got the keys to the castle and wants to bring it home for his own with less than 2 laps left.
Yeah, and at this point, like I said, he's almost got a half a straightaway, and he's going to come around at 1 and 2. Look, nothing contested, or 3 and 4, excuse me. He's going to come down the front stretch, David, and see that white flag, and nobody in any zip code of where he's at, he's going to pretty much, he could cut the engine off at this point and coast down the back stretch into 3 and 4 to the finish line.
And 1 lap to go. This time around, it is going to be all about Adam Bozzi as he comes through turns 3 and 4. The bowling backstretch is his, and he's looking to lock it up, throwing it back to the Stavola brothers and the famed Bobby Allison, looking to copy those winning ways. And at the track too tough to tame, why not do 2-for-2? Queen City Racing gets their premier win. It's Adam Bozzi coming home on top. The checkered flag is his. Bozzi will win and gets it done over James McKee and Dylan Petit at the line. Strategy changes at the very end, and Adam Bozzi will go through winning from the Darlington Raceway. Nice way to get it done. Bozzi is a winner again and finds himself on top with a fantastic restart performance that made all the difference.
Yeah, a heck of a race these guys would put on. If you had to me pick a winner, and when I come in, I probably would have said the 5 of Dylan Clark. Never would I have thought the 27 of Adam Bozzi, getting the win. That late race caution hurt, a lot. A lot of these guys in their strategy-wise, a lot of these guys probably were thinking, oh, this race is going to go green flag to checker flag, and that didn't case. Adam Bozzi played strategy there, I feel, and was the man that come out on top. And tough break for Dylan Clark and even Dylan Petit.
And a tough break for some of the early contenders in this race, but Adam Bozzi is going to get the best of it. Cody, I know you'll be on your way as soon as we get through the results, but let's show the drivers, of course, and the viewers alike what happened here in Darlington. It's going to be Adam Bozzi getting it done. The ASC Services and Supply Southern 200, and it's Bozzi over James McKee and Dylan Petit then in third. Going to be Kendall Kerr fourth. Dylan Clark rounds out the top five, and Brad Crest comes through for sixth. Then from there, going to be Terry Brooks in seventh, Alan Kumman eighth, and Chad Winstead ninth, and 22 laps down is Scott Wheeler rounding out the top 10.
And coming home at 11th is going to be Kenny Brooks, DJ Snagger 12th, and Caleb Morrissey comes home 13th. All three of them drivers looks to be out of the race.
And that is your 13-car field tonight from Darlington. Adam Bozzi looking to burn down the house. The celebration is on. The drivers have led him to his own. Little celebratory there from Alan Kunman to come side by side with Bozzi. But now time for him to burn it down and put on a smoke show. It's Adam Bozzi's time to celebrate as he takes it down to the start-finish line to get the party started.
Well, that's going to do it for me, David. I appreciate you letting me come up in here. And congratulations to Adam Bozzi on winning the race here. A heck of a race for these guys. A good group of guys that's here. And hopefully I can come back and do this again with you.
Absolutely, Cody. Great to have you aboard here on FTN. Great to have you stop by. And, looks like we're going to have you here a little bit more often on Thursday nights, but maybe not just for the Highline Racing League. More to come on that. We thank you for stopping by and hope you have a great night.
Yeah, you guys have a great night as well.
There we have it. That was Cody calling it from the remainder of the race. Got to thank him once again for his time. Cody Deemers of Elevated TV as Adam Bozzi continues his celebration, taking a famed Polish victory lap around the circuit. Adam Bozzi continuing the celebration right now, and for Queen City Racing, it's the number 27 now on top. We're going to get him in the broadcast booth here now. Adam Bozzi in the Southern 200, able to get it done. And tonight, it looks like with that strategy wrench in the equation, you capitalize the best of anyone, and it looks like the 27 team is on top. Queen City gets the sweep, and you come home with a Premier Series win. How do you feel winning the Services and Supplies Southern 200?
Man, it is time to go crack a garage beer and party. This is it. I know it was a small driver count, but this track is so good. It's so hard to race sometimes, and I don't know. It's awesome. I love winning here.
And able to get it done after such a hard-fought race, and you mentioned it. Doesn't matter the driver count, Darlington is always tough. The track too tough to tame, they say, but it looks like you put it in control, getting it all out of sort earlier on. A lot of drivers shuffling up and down, but with that restart, you're able to take control, use that strategic call, and put yourself up in front till the very end.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had the long run car to do it. I think Jimmy was going to be a threat if it stayed green. I messed up that first green flag pit stop by sliding too far into my box, and he got by me. But towards the end of that second run, when I got back by him, that's when I kind of realized like this thing has got some speed and it's good to go the rest of the way. So caution was a little untimely, but I can't say enough about how well the car drove, and I don't know what I did to the brake bias or whatever to make it that good, but I'm sure as happy as it is.
And great to have this number 2017 back in contention. Looks like a running away there on that final run. Had a bit of pressure. Of course, the battle for the lead looks like it was getting closer. What, in your mind, did you do to get these drivers sort of away from you and make that gap so much bigger?
You just got to run the track. It's hard to pass here. You got to, work with the track and make it hard for guys to get around you and make them try to find a different line. And thankfully, that's what happened. Still a good run by Poteet, though. If he would have gotten by me, I don't know if we would be here talking for a win. So.
And defense gets Adam Bozzi through. The number 27 machine comes out on top from Darlington, and from the Lady in Black, we're going down to the paperclip. Next week in the Premier Series, we'll be racing from Martinsville on Thursday night, and for the viewers, and I don't know if you know as well, it's going to be another race, this time short tracking. How's it going to feel to keep this momentum up and one of NASCAR's shortest tracks?
Well, one of my wins in this league, the only other win I had in this league came at Richmond. And that was the next gen car, but for some reason, the short tracks come to me a little bit better than the mile and a halfs do, and the weirdly shaped tracks come to me really good for some reason. So I think we'll be all right. It's just, there's going to be incidents, there's going to be cautions. You just got to try and survive or have as little damage as possible and give yourself a shot.
And keeping himself in contention all night long, Adam Bozzi gives himself the shot to get it done here at the Lady in Black. Darlington, a victory in the history books in the Highline Racing League, getting it done to the Services and Supplies Southern 200. Anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, just thank you for putting on the show. I love going back and watching these. Thanks, Toby Kendall, for setting up the league and everybody coming out tonight. And shout out to my girlfriend. It's our 1 year anniversary tonight, so I appreciate her letting me come race and actually win a race for once. So got some good luck rolling. We'll see where it goes next week.
And a night to remember for Adam Bozzi, getting it done, clawing through the field, and coming home in victory lane here in Darlington. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And Adam Bozzi going to be then on the move immediately after the number 29 machine of James McKee fought and clawed to get that second spot back late in the going and eventually a podium finish for the 29 team once again back in the podium. How do you feel tonight after a hard-fought race in Darlington?
I'm a little disappointed. Second place sucks, but Adam's a good guy, and he definitely deserved that win tonight. I feel like he had one of the better cars the whole entire night. So I can't complain, but nobody's ever happy with second.
Still very solid points tonight, as you mentioned, but that restart made all the difference. Still able to claw back a few spots there at the end, but what do you think could have been done to maybe give yourself a chance to get it done with victory lane?
I think if that caution didn't come out, I was trying to plan to jump at Adam in the pit cycle. So I was hoping to pit at least one lap before him and kind of jump him a little bit like I did the previous green flag pit stop and, try and stay out in front of him. But didn't happen that way. But what can you do?
As it stands, nothing more that can be done besides going on to what is next. The Paperclip, Martinsville, short track racing with these Gen 4s. That's something we've been waiting to see all season long. Half a mile. It's going to be exciting. How do you feel going there?
It's one of my favorite short tracks, but it's awfully scary running short tracks when, some of these guys I've raced with for several years and I trust them. And then every now and then we make a mistake and overdrive a corner and then one of us sent around. So hopefully we can keep it clean and maybe get a W next week.
And looking to get one spot higher on the podium, James McKee, second place on the day in the number 29 body shop machine, runner up here in Darlington. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, sir. Just appreciate y'all. Broadcasts are always awesome, and it's good to be back in the podium.
There we have it. Top three for James McKee, pulling it through at the end of a hard-fought night in Darlington. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Now with James McKee on the move, one more driver left in the podium places, and that will be Dylan Petit as we come through with the number 31 machine, third on the day, and an up-and-down night for this 31 team. From the front of the field earlier in the going, fading back a bit loose on the second run, then the restart got you back going, and it looks like you gave it a fight for the lead. Still a podium finish to finish it all off indeed. Dylan Petit, third on the day. How do you feel?
It was a good race for sure. I couldn't lie and say I'm not disappointed because I'm pretty sad that I didn't win this race. I really wanted to win this one bad, honestly. I've had this one circled for a few weeks, and the cat scheme was a throwback to Ward Bird, and I've ran this scheme so many times in my sim racing career, and just felt like it was such a good combination. I was really hoping I can get in victory lane, but I think I just overdid it there on that last run. I got up to Adam, and just like a switch hit and just got loose all of a sudden, and then I was just kind of hanging on for the rest of the run and fell back to third. But overall, it was a good night. Definitely was probably saved, honestly, by the yellow. I don't know, probably a lot of people thought it probably hurt me, but it probably honestly saved me because my strategy was probably going to be shot pitting when I did, and I would have probably had to pit one more time for gas. So all in all, probably should be happy with the podium finish because I think it would have been tough to get back up here even on the last pit stop under probably 20 to go if I had to pit again. So Oh no, it was a good race. Fun racing with Adam and Jimmy there at the end, and everybody else. Dylan Clark was fast early in the race as well, and it was fun. I'm just a bit disappointed, honestly. I'm happy for Adam winning though, but just part of me really is this just sucks to not win this one.
And a fantastic performance, just a few spots short of the race win. So what's next, of course, is a much different track. Martinsville, back to some short tracking, and it's going to be an exciting show all the same. You think there's a chance to keep this momentum going and maybe go for another good run?
Well, unfortunately, I won't be here next week. I'm actually leaving for vacation tomorrow, so I actually will not be racing anything next week. So I'll be looking forward to going to Charlotte, which is another good track for me, and kind of just preparing for that one mindset-wise, just get ready for that. But I'm hoping everybody has a good race next week at Martinsville. Hoping we get a bigger crowd. I was a tad surprised we didn't have as many tonight. It could have been a combination of a few things with truck race on and some other things, but all in all, hopefully we get a bigger crowd next week from Martinsville and everybody shows up and has a good race, and hopefully everything looks good on the broadcast. But just kind of preparing for Charlotte at this point. I'm just trying to go out and try to get a win sometime this season. That's kind of became my goal because I've kind of fallen out of the points battle early already. So all in all, just want to get back to victory lane. That's kind of my only goal at this point. I just want to get back and win a race in this Premier Series. Really want to try to overshadow the first one for sure and try to get that second one. But all in all, it was it is what it is. We'll just move on and look forward to Charlotte and the rest of the season.
And still chasing that checkered flag, Dylan Petit, oh so close in the Caterpillar throwback tonight. Third place for the 31 crew. Anything else you'd like to add?
I just want to thank everybody at Team Trap House and Dylan for preparing this car. Dylan Body, he got this cat car race. He's actually one I ran from the Coke 300. We just changed the number and a couple of things, so easy swaps out. Thank you for that, Dylan, and thanks for everybody watching, and thank you guys, FTN, and everybody at Highline for putting this together and doing this like we do every week. This has been my home since I started racing iRacing 2 years ago, and been welcomed with open arms and everything, and just glad to still be around and call everybody here, my friends, and just looking forward to coming back in a couple weeks, take a week off, just refresh everything, and come back strong at Charlotte, and then also in the Truck Series. So. And then just thanks everybody again. Congrats also again to Adam on the win. I'm really happy for him to get that win. Now that we've both been battling hard trying to get wins in the series, so I got to catch back up to him now. He's one win ahead of me, so I'll have to try to even the tally back up there. And yeah, but thanks again everybody I raced with tonight. I hope I ran everybody clean. If I got anybody, I'm sorry. I was just on a mission tonight, and yep, it was fun. Thank you guys for all you guys do, and everybody at Highline for what they do.
And looking to settle a score once again with a race win in a few weeks' time, Dylan Petit, third place on the day in the Southern 200. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
And with Dylan Petit on the move, he's the final man we'll talk to tonight here from Darlington. Dylan Petit will finish third. It will be second, occupied by James McKee. And Adam Bozzi will have gotten it done with his first race win of the season. Getting it done on top for the number 27, Bozzi pulls it through with a beautiful Stavola Brothers throwback and gets it done at the end of the night. We're going to wrap it up a bit early right now in FTN because we ran a bit long on the day overall, so we thank you once again for your immense support. As always, I've been your host for tonight's broadcast, David Kreutz, and all support is greatly appreciated as we bring you the Highline Racing League action all night long. Road to Pro will be officially broadcasted tomorrow at 8 Eastern. I'll be in charge of putting up that replay, so you will have a race to watch. Thank you all sincerely for sticking around and making sure this night went better than it could have. Great to have you all once again. The audience makes it happen truly. In a night like this, that's even more so the case. So if you enjoyed the broadcast, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It's always greatly appreciated, and we'll have you all again whenever we're live on FTN. Thank you all once more, and we hope you have a great night.